Everyone wants a happy life. Everyone wants comfort, peace, success, love, and confidence. But very few people want the process that creates those things. We want the reward without the work. The result without the resistance. The confidence without the discomfort. We scroll through other people's success and think, they're lucky. But we don't see the quiet suffering behind the scenes. Here's the uncomfortable truth: you cannot build a meaningful life without suffering. If your goal is to avoid pain, you will avoid growth. If your goal is comfort, you will slowly become weaker, not because you're lazy, but because your nervous system never learns to handle challenge. Life does not reward those who escape discomfort, rewards those who choose their discomfort wisely. So, the real question is not, how do I avoid suffering? The real question is, which suffering is worth my life? Welcome to Essence of Books Explained. This channel breaks down powerful ideas from the best self-development books in simple, calm English. No hype, no noise, just clear lessons you can actually use in your life. If you want slow, meaningful growth, you're in the right place. What this chapter is really about. In this video, we're breaking down Chapter 4 of The Subtle Art of Not Giving Too Much Care by Mark Manson. Not to summarize a book, but to help you see your own life more clearly. As a reader, this chapter feels like a mirror. It forces you to look at the stories you tell yourself about happiness. Most of us were taught that a good life is a comfortable life. Less stress, less conflict, less pain. So, when life becomes difficult, we assume something has gone wrong. We feel unlucky, we feel cheated, we think we made the wrong choices. But this chapter shows you something unsettling. Struggle is not a sign that you're failing at life, it is a sign that you're participating in life. No matter what path you choose, suffering is guaranteed. If you chase success, you suffer discipline, pressure, failure, rejection, and doubt. If you avoid responsibility, you suffer anxiety, regret, boredom, and low self-respect. If you care deeply about people, you suffer disappointment and heartbreak. If you care about nothing, you suffer emptiness and meaninglessness. There is no pain-free option. There is only chosen pain and unconscious pain. As a reader, this forces you to ask, am I choosing my pain consciously? Or am I letting fear choose it for me? Main ideas plus layered examples. 1. You don't get a life without problems. Many people secretly want a life with no problems. Not a better life, just a quieter one. One where nothing challenges them too deeply. But think about it honestly, a life with no problems would also be a life with no growth. No improvement, no depth. Every meaningful thing carries a cost. Love comes with vulnerability and heartbreak. Growth comes with discomfort and failure. Honesty comes with tension and conflict. Discipline comes with sacrifice and boredom. When someone says, I just want an easy life, what they often mean is, I don't want to feel uncomfortable. But discomfort is the doorway to meaning. Without struggle, life becomes flat. You may be safe, but you will also feel small. 2. Suffering is what gives life depth. If everything was easy, nothing would feel valuable. Think about the things you're proud of. They probably cost you something. Time, energy, embarrassment, fear. The reason they matter is because they weren't easy. This is why Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl resonates so deeply. As a reader, you see that meaning is not found by escaping suffering, it's found by deciding what your suffering stands for. This reframes your pain. Pain is not proof that life is unfair. Pain is proof that something important is happening. Suffering is not a mistake in life's design, it is part of how life gives depth. Without suffering, no strength, no humility, no resilience, no real self-respect. A life without struggle may look peaceful from the outside, but it often feels empty on the inside. 3. Wrong values create empty suffering. Not all suffering grows you. Some suffering slowly erodes you. You can suffer for things that don't deserve your life, approval from people who don't respect you. Money to impress people you don't even like. Status that fades. Perfection that never arrives. This kind of suffering leaves you tired and bitter. You work hard but feel hollow. You achieve things but feel behind. As a reader, this part stings, because it reveals that exhaustion alone doesn't mean you're on the right path. You can be tired and still be chasing the wrong values. Good values create meaningful pain. Bad values create pointless pain. This forces a deeper question: is my suffering making me wiser, or just more resentful? 4. The example of Hiro Onoda, suffering without truth. The story of Hiro Onoda is disturbing because it forces you to confront an uncomfortable possibility, that you can suffer intensely, and still be wrong. He endured hunger. He endured fear. He endured isolation and constant danger. Not for days or months, but for years. From the outside, his endurance looks heroic. But when you look closer, something feels tragic. The war was already over. The world had moved on. Yet he stayed trapped inside a story that was no longer true. This reveals a painful truth about human nature: suffering by itself does not create meaning. Endurance alone does not make your life noble. Loyalty alone does not make your choices right. As a reader, this story becomes a mirror. It asks you to look at your own life with honesty. Am I suffering for something that is still real, or for an identity I've outgrown? Am I holding on to a belief because it is true, or because it once gave me a sense of purpose? Am I staying in pain because it is meaningful, or because letting go would mean admitting I was wrong? You can suffer deeply for a story you never questioned. You can stay loyal to goals that no longer fit who you are. You can endure pain simply because change feels threatening. And here's the hard part: sometimes we keep suffering, not because it is right, but because suffering feels familiar. It becomes part of who we think we are. Pain becomes meaningful only when it is aligned with truth. Only when it leads you toward growth. Only when it reflects the reality of who you are becoming, not the past you are afraid to release. Otherwise, suffering becomes wasted time. Not because pain has no value, but because pain without truth does not build a better life. 5. You are always choosing your suffering. Even avoiding decisions is a decision. If you don't choose discipline, you choose regret. If you don't choose honesty, you choose fake peace. If you don't choose growth, you choose stagnation. If you don't choose effort, you choose self-disrespect. There is no neutral choice. There is only chosen pain or delayed pain. This reframes responsibility: you're not choosing whether to suffer. You're choosing how to suffer. The pain of growth or the pain of staying the same. The pain of courage or the pain of resentment. The pain of learning or the pain of repeating the same mistakes. 6. Why suffering builds self-respect. Self-respect doesn't come from comfort. It comes from proof. Proof that you can face discomfort and still move forward. Proof that you can keep promises to yourself. Proof that you don't collapse the moment things get hard. This idea isn't new. Long before modern psychology and self-development books, ancient wisdom pointed to the same pattern in human growth. The Bible captures this insight in a simple line: suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. Romans 5 verses 3-4. You don't have to be religious to recognize the pattern here. The message is psychological, not doctrinal. The struggle builds endurance. Endurance shapes character. And character gives your life inner stability. As a reader, this reframes pain as a process, not a punishment. Each layer of discomfort builds something in you: endurance, stability, depth. Peace.